I'd like to think that the people that watch these YouTube videos are good-hearted people. I don't like thinking of my fanbase as guys who demand too much or that don't appreciate the humanity in life, and so I feel like it's pretty understandable to you why I hesitated to make this video in the first place. Today we are talking about Vasili Podkolzin, Vancouver Canucks young guy, Abbotsford Canucks athlete at the moment, and a guy who had been making headlines because of his play down there in the AHL. Now, he has been on an absolute tear recently. If you take a look at the goals that he has scored, 5 goals, 6 games played, 7 points, and he is on pace for an over point per game year in the AHL. This is the best case scenario for Podkolzin because in the NHL, you could very well see that he might have been a little bit rushed. He might have had a little bit of a hesitance to the way that he approached the game, especially in the offensive zone. So, getting sent down to the AHL, playing in Abbotsford, and dominating that team, being the guy in the offensive zone who is sniping pucks like crazy, the guy who can blast on one-timers, and do things that we haven't seen out of Podkolzin since his days in the Hlinka Gretzky Cup 3-4 years ago. This is a guy who has reinvented his approach to the game in the American Hockey League. But the biggest, most scary thing that we had seen about Podkolzin that emerged 2 days ago came as a result of a hit by Keaton Middleton of the Colorado Eagles. It's right here in the corner. I don't want to play the clip because it's AHL copyrighted footage, but right beside the Lululemon sign, you can see that Vasili Podkolzin gets hit into the boards, and then he kind of gets chokeslammed down to the ice, and he lands really awkwardly on his head, a la Mike Matheson on Elias Pettersson type of stuff there. This definitely was an ugly situation because afterwards, Podkolzin was laying down on the ice. He did not move. There were some reports saying that he was kind of convulsing. The game then stopped. You had both teams on the ice as Podkolzin was left off on a stretcher. And this is where a lot of Canucks fans, myself included, started to panic. And I didn't want to make a video about this right away because it was like, you know, if worst case scenario, something really bad happens as a result of this injury, then it feels a little bit weird to exploit that and talk about it on YouTube and make money off of it, right? Doesn't really feel like something I want to talk about, which is why we didn't make a video on the Rodion Amirov thing as well. Very separate note, but that's just kind of the thought process that goes into deciding, you know, what do we make videos about, whatever, right? But the thing is, with Podkolzin, even though this absolutely devastating event took place on the ice in Abbotsford, you had yourselves the update a little bit later from himself. This is tweeted out by Chris Faber. By the way, big shout out to my buddy Chris. Got hired by the Canucks earlier today. I'm so proud of this guy. But he did post the Vasili Podkolzin Instagram update. And is that aligned? No, it's not. Podkolzin says on Instagram, all good, no worries. This was via his story. So good on Podkolzin for letting the fans know. It was a much-needed sigh of relief amongst the entire fanbase that one of the team's top prospects, who is only 22 years old, who was dominating the AHL, is going to be fine. Ryan Johnston also said this on Donnie and Dolly earlier today, that Podkolzin is doing well and has responded well. He is still in the 48-hour concussion protocol period, but he's moving up and he's around. Arshdeep Bains, they also talk about him. He's in the conversation whenever that may be to play some games in the NHL. We could talk a little bit about Bains as his career goes on with Abby. But for right now, Vasili Podkolzin has been an absolute stick of dynamite in the AHL, doing things that we wanted him to do in the NHL, but just didn't have enough confidence to do so. This stint down here in Abbotsford, assuming he sticks around for maybe half the year, maybe he splits half and half, Abbotsford to Vancouver, this could be what he needed to really get his head on straight and start doing really great offensive things with the Vancouver Canucks. This setback of getting hit by Keaton Middleton and getting taken down to the ice, I mean, if you want to talk about Elias Pettersson bulked up and became a better player after that situation with Mike Matheson. Maybe Podkolzin goes through a similar development. Also, I wanted to end off this video by saying this. The Canucks do play the St. Louis Blues later tonight, and I'm going to be able to watch the game, but not in its entirety. There is some stuff I gotta do later in the night, and I'm gonna have to record the post-game video on my phone, so be prepared for a car vlog once everything is said and done with Vancouver and St. Louis later tonight. But for now, I'll leave you with this. Vasili Podkolzin was hurt. He was very, very hurt. I didn't want to make a video about it right away because it would feel weird to talk about a guy when his health status was not really all too guaranteed or whatever. You know, there still could be extra things that pop up. But ever since seeing the updates from Podkolzin himself, the Abbotsford Canucks GM Ryan Johnson, by the way, the guy who just got it out, Alex Burrows, comes in and scores. Yeah, Ryan Johnson's that guy. Interesting connection, right? But after seeing Podkolzin going out there and confirming his good wishes, it's easier for us to go out there and talk about how much of a beast he has been. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below about this scary Vasili Podkolzin situation. I hope you enjoyed this video, and bye.